I'm no longer tired.
I am so excited. As naked as possible.
Okay.
Sean, can you shut up? Shut up! You're scaring the hoes! Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 20, Episode 4. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. I had thought that since I'm coming the day after the show airs, maybe I should bulk the episodes, but there's just so much information happening from episode to episode. So guys, I think I'm just gonna stick with one at a time. We'll be fine. That's typically what I do in this channel with other shows anyways. I think we'll be okay. So the episode starts with everyone talking about their first night together. Michelle and Cameron's first night went very well. She woke up saying sex wasn't on the table, but she is very attracted to Cameron. Marissa says that Adam is a great cuddler and she is very attracted to her husband. It seemed like sex wasn't on the table because it wasn't mentioned, but then when they're on their honeymoon, I think she said something like, oh, are you able to pick me up? And he's like, of course I can pick you up. Don't you remember that I was throwing you around last night? Or something like, no, he said, I can throw you around. Don't you remember last night? So that's insinuating that they had sex. Then we have Nikki, who wakes up in high spirits. Can you believe it? And after sleeping on it, Sean says that he had a revelation that his jokes were too much too soon. He did hold her hand in the night, and I was like, was that intentional? Or were you asleep? Like, what's that about? Like, is he the type to push boundaries? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Either way, Nikki did say she thought it was intimate and she wasn't put off by it. And she did wake up in high spirits. So I think like if he just takes it easy, which he's not going to do, but if he takes it easy, she can see herself developing something. I don't know if it'll be a full-on attraction, but maybe a fondness, you know? Nick and Courtney slept very peacefully. She says that he's kind and gorgeous, but they did not have any kind of physical intimacy. Felipe and Tori definitely looked the most comfortable to me in the morning. They were still cuddling when the cameras came in. I mean, that could have been prompted, but either way, they are very comfortable, but sex is still not on the table for them. He kind of kills the vibe though when he starts to talk about his commitment issues.
I'm honestly so impressed with the matchmakers.
I do have a slight fear of commitment. Already being committed is gonna help me just focus on you. Gosh, I'm so happy I did it. As of right now, I'm thrilled.
If I was Tori, somebody's telling me they have commitment issues, I need to get to the bottom of where those come from. And I know who's the person who's struggling. Oh, Nikki. Sean is really into psychology. I also studied psych, so I'm all about like looking for the deeper meaning of things, like okay, well, where did this stem from? Like how did you grow from those experiences and all that kind of stuff. Sean is gonna do that. It's gonna piss Nikki off, but I'm the same, I'll be honest. And in this conversation, somebody's telling me, hey, I have a history of commitment issues and all of that. I'm not just gonna gloss over that. We need to get into the nitty gritty. Like, how did we get there? Is there going to be hope for that to change? Like, why did you commit to this process knowing that you have these kinds of roadblocks? You know what I'm saying when it comes to dating? So yeah, I'd be a bit concerned, especially because I feel like I see Tori falling. She said that she has high walls when she's first getting to know somebody, but even after the first night, it looks like she's, you know, bringing those walls down a bit. I would hate for her to get invested and then for him to blindside her and be like, oh, I mean, sorry, not for me. You know, I do have those commitment issues. Hell no. We not doing that. Next was Beljolie and Mecca. They say that they had a good night as well. She does say that their friendship, well, yeah, their relationship feels like a friendship. And my question at this point, and I'm so glad I said it because it showed up later, was, are they going to be stuck in the friend zone? I think the answer is yes. As this episode was going on, and even seeing the preview for the next episode, I said, oh, Lord, Mecca, don't piss me off. Ooh, let me not get too much into it. Then we have Devin and Caitlyn. They had a great night as well. They are quite touchy-feely, which is good for Devin because he's very into physical touch, but intimacy was also off the table for them. All the couples are going to Mexico for their honeymoon. I'm glad that they're all going to the same place because typically the international versions will send you to different places, but this way they can have their moments where they're all talking together and stuff because they're all in the same place. Then we have Felipe and Tori. They're talking about faith. Well, they're talking about a lot of things, but they start with talking about faith. And I was like, producers, what's going on?
I'm Christian.
Okay, okay.
Yep, I do have a relationship with God and do pray a lot, and, you know, we're pretty tight.
You know, I grew up Catholic. I'm an atheist.
How do you feel about children being baptized?
It's a baby going in water. If it's a big deal to you in your faith, then babe, it's a big deal to me.
This would be an absolute deal breaker for me. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm a Christian and I'm partnered with an atheist? That ain't got nothing to do with him. I'm looking at the producers. Why the hell would you put me in that situation? If that were me, but it's not me. It's not me. It's Tori. The impression I'm getting from Tori is she wants to practice Christianity and also have her kids practice Christianity, but maybe she's indifferent about what her partner is involved in. I think that stuff is nice in theory, but when it's time to be practical about it, you're gonna clash. You are. Because as somebody who doesn't believe in any kind of deity, and my kids are coming and talking about Jesus Christ, like, what? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. But she didn't seem very put off, just as long as she's able to still be Christian and her kids are able to practice Christianity. Okay, child. So then she says, when it comes to jealousy, she's not the jealous type. She's just territorial. Girl, potato, tomato. What do you mean? Like, if you are territorial, it probably is rooted in jealousy. What are you talking about? She says, you know, I want a partner who's not deceitful. I want somebody who's able to be honest and transparent with me. That'll keep from me being very territorial. So here goes Felipe saying, okay, let me be honest about my past. I have cheated before. He said this was a long-term relationship. I didn't catch that the first time around. He was with this lady for what sounds like 3 years. I watched it last night, so I don't quite remember. But he cheated, got away with it, blocked it out of his mind because he was just so ashamed. And then he only remembered after the fact because the girlfriend found out after they broke up from the girl. She got a hey girly message. And that is the time that he remembered. He was like, oh, I was just so ashamed that I had to remove it from my memory to move on. That would scare the living hell out of me. Because what do you mean whenever you're ashamed, you just block things out of your memory? So you're going to do some crazy shit to me and then just rid your mind of it and we're just going to move on like nothing happened? Hell no. Hell no. So then she's like, well, I hope that that's not something you plan on doing. He's like, oh no, I don't see myself cheating on you. I'm sure the ex-girlfriend thought the same. Going through some quick conversations here, we have Beljalie and Mecca who speak about their attraction to one another. It's there. It definitely is there, but they are kind of in like a friend area. They do kiss and stuff, which is cute and all, but Beljalie says that she's the one who initiates, and that is, you know, starting to grate on her a bit. She doesn't want to be the one who's constantly, you know, throwing herself at him. She wants that attraction to be reciprocated. He says he's attracted, but he's not doing anything. So I was thinking, is this because he is not as attracted? I don't fully believe but that could be a thing. Or is it that abandonment thing that he has? Like, oh, if I put myself out there and she rejects me, I'm going to internalize that instead of just realizing, okay, maybe it's just not the right time or something. Like, I think he just doesn't want to make himself susceptible to being hurt, but then it's going to manifest in a bad way, because later on we're going to see that she's definitely becoming more invested and he's the one retreating, where it seemed like he was the one yearning for that affection and she was the one who was kind of like taking her time to express it. Yeah, I don't know. The roles are reversing with these two and I'm a bit concerned. Then we have Nick and Courtney. They've gotten to the point where they have nothing to talk about. And that's quite concerning because all you have to do is talk. There's nothing else going on. You're strangers. You don't know anything about each other. You could talk about anything, literally anything, philosophical, interests, dating, the world is your oyster of topics right now. But anyways, they do talk about upbringing and all that eventually. And then he explains why he went on the 5 shows that he did. I don't quite remember what the explanation was about, but it seemed like she was mid-conversation and he interjected to talk about himself. And I was like, that's annoying. More on that later. I'll be paying more attention to them. I wasn't paying much attention because they weren't talking much, but now I'm realizing, no, I actually have to start focusing when it comes to Nick and Courtney. Then there's a conversation between, also, back to Nick and Courtney. So every time she's talking, you know, she says she's a busybody, right? So being idle is not really for her. I would assume that that also applies to talking. When she's talking to him, he looks overstimulated. He looks like he doesn't want to be in this conversation anymore. But then when he's sitting down and talking to producers, he's like, yeah, things are going well. There's no way you believe that. Either he's delusional or he's playing up to the cameras. I'm going to assume it's the latter. Then we have Cameron and Michelle, who talk about her fertility struggles. She opens up about having fibroids and what that's going to mean when it's time to have kids or want to conceive. He says that it was always his dream to have kids of his own, but he does understand that conception is not as straightforward as a lot of people may assume, which is true. So I'm like, okay, this sounds good. I feel like at the end of the first batch of episodes, they did show a preview that this is going to be an issue, though. It's not an issue in this episode, so I'm wondering when that's gonna come up. But okay. Sean asks Nikki how she keeps her figure. And she's like, oh, you know, I be going to the gym, you know, I be taking care of myself or whatnot. And then it goes into his physique. And I said, man, why the hell did you open this door?
What are you doing to maintain this?
You know, some yoga, some Pilates.
Yeah. I am certainly like happy with my dad bod. Chicka chicka bow. Chicka bow wow.
Go ahead, do it. Wow, okay, all of that. I didn't necessarily picture myself with someone with a dad bod. And without the dad part, I love that he's confident in his body.
She said, I didn't expect a dad bod without the dad. I would simply have to go home. I would have to go home. She then is going to say, you know, I walked in because he's talking about, oh yeah, I saw a beautiful bride come down the aisle. I was so ecstatic. And she said, yeah, I walked out and I saw a gorgeous congregation. Now, why would you do that? Like, why would you? You could say, you know, the entire thing was just so beautiful. Like, wow, just seeing your energy and stuff. Because she's going to, you know, compliment his energy and his spirituality and his accolades, his education, but never his appearance, which is fine. Don't lie. Obviously, she don't like that man. Don't lie. You don't like him. But I felt like there is a way to talk about how everything was beautiful without singling out the fact that you don't think he is beautiful. So to be like, yes, everybody in the audience was so gorgeous. I don't know. I could only take so many ways that somebody's telling me I don't find you attractive. But then I can only take so many sexual jokes. Like, how many things have to be turned into an innuendo for you to realize you're coming off like a creep? You're scaring the hoes, Sean. Every single time he tries to throw out a feeler, and obviously she's not gonna bite. So then he's like, oh, I'm just joking. You're not joking. Because if she was down, you'd be down. It's not a joke. Stop. It makes people feel very uncomfortable. And any strides they make, he knocks them back because he crosses that boundary. That's a him problem. I actually want to give Nikki, shout out you for real. Shout out you. I think there's certain things that she could word a bit better, but for the most part, she's actually trying. I will give her that. This man is making it hard though. They start talking about their past. He says he used to be very self-centered. She says she used to be as well. She would be very judgy in her past relationships, but now she would ask her partner questions instead of just casting judgment onto them. So then he's like, okay, well, if you say that you've grown, like, what are the ways? She said, I'm not going to rehash every single detail about my ex-partners. And he's like, yeah, but if you're talking about growth, I would like to know where the growth came from. Not gonna lie, same. I get what she's saying. Like, okay, well, I just told you a little tidbit. You could tell me a tidbit and this could be a conversation. Instead, you're turning this into an interview. This feels like an inquisition. Yes, but how did you grow? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I understand him because my brain works the same, but I could see how she felt like he was putting her on the stand and that, like, I just met you. I'm not trying to do all that. Caitlin and Devin speak about their upbringing. They both come from these healthy families, and they say that that helped them become very good communicators in relationships. And so they talk about past relationships, and it was all good, you know, they're being honest about their history and all that, which is great. But then She talks about how she's used to toxic relationships and he's used to being a people pleaser, and we're seeing that that is going to be a problem.
I struggle with not having my person there.
I used to hate being alone. Now I've learned that I really value that time. My friends always call me the very black cat.
I'm very golden retriever.
Yeah.
It fills my cup, filling others.
I'm not the most in touch with my emotions. It's what everyone in my life says that I need. Whoa, why are you being nice to me? No one's nice to me normally.
Caitlyn says that she has big black cat energy, right? Devin says he's a golden retriever. He wants to cater to somebody. He wants to please them all the time. And she says, that's cool that you want to please somebody, but I don't want you to lose yourself in being a people pleaser, which is great. But I also was like, well, where is this coming from? Is it because you're looking out for him, or because you're not used to receiving that kind of attention, care, from a partner? And I feel like the latter is true. She says in her past relationships, people have been detached emotionally. She also is an emotionally detached person. So that just was normal. It was a normal dynamic in her previous relationships. And so sometimes when she has a good thing, she doesn't quite appreciate it. And we're already seeing that happen with these two. He says that he's the type of person who wants to dote after his partner. So her being a bit standoffish is going to be a problem. I can see that she's being standoffish for sure. And at the beginning, they were talking about their communication being so great. However, it was either the evening or something had happened where they both went to bed. She wanted them to go. No, they decided that they wanted to go to the gym. He was like, yeah, sure, just wake me up, no problem. I'm used to being, attacked as my job, so it's totally fine. She gets up and goes to the gym by herself. And he's like, it would have been nice for you to say, okay, well, I'm just wanting to do something for myself. Why would you just up and leave without letting me know what's going on? We're seeing that communication, though she thinks it's a strong suit, it probably is not. Sean and Nikki have an argument that stemmed from sex. No surprise there. Basically, they were talking about whether or not sex was going to be on the table, and she had come to the conclusion that if sex is on the table, it's going to be at the tail end of this experiment, and she did not, bring him into that decision-making process. He's upset about that, but here's my thing. I got this from Sharon Boudrum, and it makes complete sense to me. The pace we go is dependent on the slowest person. So if Nikki says she's comfortable at the end, that's just that. That's just that. I don't think it warrants a conversation. However, I can understand why he feels slighted by not being a part of that conversation. It felt like they had started something and then she reached the conclusion without bringing him in to that process, right? I think that he is definitely shooting himself in the foot with this. Okay, you say that you're joking when you bring up these sexual innuendos, but here you are getting frustrated that I want to hold off on sex. So clearly you're trying to do a litmus test with me and it's not working. It's not working. I'm not down. I think that his frustration isn't necessarily that he wasn't included on the decision, but the fact that sex isn't on the table when he wanted it to be on the table. He ruined that for himself. I don't think that it was likely going to happen anyways, but it's for damn sure, less probable with the way that he's been acting. So they did have a blow up. He's going to explain later that she was talking about, it's my body, my choice, and da-da-da-da, all this kind of stuff, which it is. He seems very frustrated by that, but if your partner's not into it, the conversation ends there. They agree that they have different communication styles, and so they're going to have to learn how to better communicate, how to better resolve conflict. I don't think that they're quite there yet, because even when they're talking later with all the couples, it sounds like he's still holding on to that frustration while she thinks everything is peachy because he's been catering to her and stuff. So this misalignment will continue. Then the couples meet up. Everybody's immediately thinking, oh my gosh, this couple looks great, that couple looks great. I think the top contenders when it comes to aesthetically looking well matched were Felipe and Tori and Mecca and Beljalie. Caitlyn says that she's having a great time. However, she's going to be Devin's worst nightmare. To even say that is crazy, because he's just so overly affectionate and she's just not that kind of girl. I think worst nightmare is crazy verbiage. What does that mean? We'll stay tuned for that. Anyways, Courtney has a chat with Felipe and I was like, damn, this girl has been yearning for a lively conversation.
You have a restaurant, right?
I have a restaurant in Seattle. And you like pasta?
No, but I like alcohol. I like gluten-free pasta.
We have
I
gluten-free
have
pasta.
celiac.
You're very buff.
Yes.
You look awesome.
Felipe brings a ton of energy, and I want that in my marriage with Nick.
I really do feel for Courtney. At this point, it looks like Nick was coming for exposure. And that's annoying. Anytime that it seems like the camera is really on him, that's when he turns it on. That's when he wants to move over to Courtney, have a conversation. But all throughout the evening, he wasn't down. All throughout the damn honeymoon, he wasn't down to just talk to her, get to know her more, try to build that physical intimacy. And that sucks because she started off this process being like, he's so attractive, he's so kind, I think he's genuine, all these things. Like, he was starting at an advantage. Some of these wives can't even stand to look at their husband. This girl is so enamored by him. And here he goes being like so nonchalant, looking overstimulated, looking like he's not invested in this whole thing. But when the camera's on, he can turn it on though. I don't get it. Nick, you're not beating the allegations. You definitely came for more exposure. And that is unfortunate for my girl, Courtney. Then all the couples talk about intimacy. The only couple that has had sex is Marissa and, what's his name? Adam? I think it's them. It's either them or, no, it's them. Belle opens up about a steamy kiss she had with Mecca, but she had to initiate it. This is going to get on her nerves, and I do not blame her. Like, do you like me? Yes or no? I get it. You have your issues with whether or not people like you, but you still have to show a person that you're into them. And I hate, the dad, didn't Logic give us a little glimpse into the future? He said he had to tell Mecca to stop with this whole, I like who likes me. So it seems in general, he's not the type to want to put himself out there. You have to show that you like him for him to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be invested in this. I don't like that. I don't like that. It's clear she likes you. Stop with the foolishness. Even the guys, because he was relaying the same story, even the guys are like, can you just kiss the girl? Damn, what's your problem? Yeah, what is your problem, sir? Moving on. Then the couples talk about their issues that they're having. Everybody speaks about the same damn thing, child. Sean is frustrated about the conversation because he felt like she was just getting really charged up about something that didn't need to get that activated. But she says, he gives me coffee and I'm now meditating with him and I'm loving the spirituality that he has. And all that. Like, she's a lot more positive, and I'm like, yeah, there's something that's still not connecting with these two. Then we have Courtney, who says that she's frustrated with Nick because he's like going off of vibes, but the vibe is not creating more of a connection. Like, okay, yeah, we're chill together. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they are fighting. It's not like they can't stand each other. They are comfortable in each other's presence, but that's it. They're just vibing. And she doesn't like that. She literally was having a conversation with him, and he just kind of like turned around and started doing something else. He's then going to tell the cameras, when it comes to physical intimacy, he thinks they're about middle, I think he said the top couple is, who had gone over and kissed their girl? I feel like it was Devin and Caitlyn. Yeah. So he's like, yeah, they're at the top. We're kind of like in the middle ground, and then there's some other people who are not doing it at all. I thought that was insane. So then we see in the preview that he tried to cuddle her and she wasn't down for the cuddle. So then I was thinking to myself, are they more physical? Are they more physical than we are seeing? But then I'm like, if you're trying to just be physical, but you're not trying to have conversations with the girl, I can see why she wouldn't be down. Why are you trying to be all up on me, but you can barely have a conversation with me for more than 5 minutes? Hell no. What the hell do you think this is? No, Nick, you gotta go. Sorry. And I hope that the experts call him out, because this is giving a scheme. Most definitely. We'll see what happens in the next episode. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.